British guy. And so he said that, when I see how my thumb works, I can't help but think of how clever the Creator is. And when I wander on the vast shore of knowledge, and I found one little pebble of information through all my research, it's an answer to my prayers. And even Einstein, he was a big fan of Isaac Newton. So, as the modern world has become more industrialized and people have become actually probably more full of anxiety, according to the World Health Authority. There's more anxiety now than ever before, even though we have more material facility, but there's less and less spirituality. That's the problem. So, people are very, very easy, the mind is very disturbed, and so many young people, young kids, they're on tranquilizers. So there's something wrong, and because we know what it is. But the problem is that there's also a lot of so-called religion which puts people off seeking some kind of spiritual solution. Because when, certain religious people, they say there's only one way and God sends people to hell forever, then they turn away from religion. Because you can't love somebody who sends you to hell forever, can you? So therefore we try to explain things in more of a scientific way. It's like you boys, how old are you?
17.
17, okay. Okay, so you've had 2.5 different changes of body, you know that? Because every 7 years, every cell in the body changes. So you had a baby body, young child's body, youth's body. Your baby body is totally different from your present body, right? You couldn't even recognize you when you were a week old or 6 months old, whatever. So you have a different body, but you're the same person. You agree? You're the same person. So some people are very artistic, that manifests like Mozart. I used to live at Mozart's house, actually. Yeah, in London, near Chelsea, yeah. In Pimlico Road, yeah. Anyway, long story. But you see, some people are very, he composed his first symphony when he was 7.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he was still composing when he was, 50. So people, they have certain attributes and talents which manifest at a young age. Some people are not very nice. They don't change. Some people are vegetarian, they become vegetarian from, I meet quite a few people, they've been vegetarian their whole life, they never wanted to eat meat. So, the consciousness of the person doesn't change, but the body changes. So that means you're not your body. You agree? Oh, this guy's intelligent. So that's confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, because the Bhagavad Gita is the original book of wisdom of the world. And that was spoken originally to the sun god. All the ancient cultures, they worshipped the sun. The Egyptians worshipped Ra, the Greeks worshipped Apollo. And you got Stonehenge, the Druids. So Krishna spoke this original knowledge to the sun god millions of years ago. But even the guy that invented the atomic bomb, Robert Oppenheimer, he was looking for answers. He started the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, there's a quote. Have you seen the movie?
No.
Anyway, there's a famous movie by Chris.
Oh, no, I didn't know
What's
the
his
movie.
name?
Nolan.
It's the one that's like
Chris
that.
Nolan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a famous director. So he, he's directed the movie. He'd done all kind of The Dark Knight and all that. Batman. And he focused on Oppenheimer. So Oppenheimer, he quoted this verse from the Bhagavad Gita. which Krishna said, time I am, destroy the world, behold I become death. So that's spoken by Lord Krishna. So Krishna's time, and we're all under the control of time, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know, everybody wants to look young and beautiful, but everybody gets old and ugly. There's nothing you can do about it. People spend so much money, you know, on surgery to get rid of their wrinkles and to stay young, but you can't beat time, because ultimately everybody has to die. So, but that's not the real you, that's only your body. So the beginning of spiritual life is to understand that you're not just a body, you're a soul in a body. And your body is a combination of your karma. You know about karma, right? Yeah, what do you think karma is?
The amount of stuff you put into this life, I'm not too
Say
sure.
that again?
The amount of, sorry.
No, you're getting there.
I'm a
It's
little
good.
busy, it's
Keep
like-
going.
The more you invest yourself into this life, kind of.
Yeah, it's the result of what you've done in your last life. You're born with your karma. So that's another reason why people are very skeptical about the existence of God, because they see somebody born who may be born into a terrible, horrible situation, and there are many people in that situation. You go to many parts of the world, they're terrible lives. They're born with AIDS, or they're born blind or starving, or whatever it is. And another child has a very nice life. That's all due to their karma. So they say, well, you know, how can God be good if he allows a baby to be born in a horrible situation? Because they don't really accept, you know, the law of karma, although it's there in the Bible. I don't have the bath yet. Good bath. So the Bible, have you read the Bible? Not really. Wow, okay. So the Bible says, you know, as you sow, so shall you reap. Have you ever read that?
I think so, yeah.
Anyway, it's in the Bible, okay? I mean, Jesus was a great teacher. You have to give credit to Jesus. He was a great personality. We don't say we're the only source of knowledge, or that, you know, other religions don't have anything, but they don't have much. So, it's like the founder of Hare Krishna. He came to America in 1965. But he said that if I had come sooner, you weren't ready for me. So people have to be ready, they have to be open-minded, because every human being should accept how insignificant they are. And that's hard for people to accept, you know, because ultimately, you know, you can't control your body. You can get any disease anytime. Like I met a guy yesterday in Hungary, and he was a carpenter, and he couldn't do his work. He was only 30 years old, but his shoulder was messed up. He couldn't work anymore. So even our own body, we don't really have a lot of control over it. You get any kind of disease, any time you get some disease. So therefore, you know, we have to accept limitations, right? So therefore, you know, if we want perfect knowledge, we can't get it from a human being, because every human being has limitations. No scientist, no great philosopher, you know, if they make up their own philosophy, then you know it's imperfect, because we all make mistakes. Everybody has subject to illusion. You see a rope, it looks like a snake. Of course, here in England you don't see snakes, but you're driving down the road, you see a tree on the side of the road, it looks like somebody's standing there. And then, you know, you need glasses. Can't see your eyelids. So we're all imperfect. So every human being is like that, because every human being that is born in this world is born here because they want to accept a body which is naturally imperfect. As soon as you get this body, I mean, there's some beautiful looking people, but they're not perfect. They have flaws, they have greed, they have envy, they have pride, so many qualities. But their body, what is the body? Well, I'm proud of my body, but, you know, what is the body made of? It's not lovely, really. Things inside the body, urine, stool, blood, pus, nothing to be proud of. But, you know, we're very proud of our body. Like people spend, the beauty industry, you know, probably the same here because the UK follows America. Hundreds of billions of dollars every year people spend on trying to be beautiful. But they're decorating, you know, something that is nothing to be proud of. But that's the modern world. It's like the whole fashion industry. What is fashion? You know, it wasn't there. I mean, at least in ancient times, maybe it was there with the Romans. They wear the togas. But, you know, the fashion industry is a very destructive thing because they create all these new fashions and they manufacture all these different clothes. You go to Primark, you know, every year they've got to come out with a different whole set of new designs, everything else. So people wear them for a couple of days, throw them away, all made of plastic. No pure, you can't hard to get pure cotton because, you know, everything is so industrialized. So we're presenting something totally different. We're presenting knowledge from a perfect source, which is Lord Krishna. We say, you know, we don't say this is the only source of knowledge because Jesus gave some knowledge, but it was very basic because the people he was speaking to were very basic people. You don't go up to gentlemen and say, don't steal, don't kill, because they already know that, right? You know what the Ten Commandments are?
I don't think I can name them all.
Can you
but I
say
get
what
that.
they are? Do you remember what they are?
I feel them.
Huh?
I don't remember all of them though.
Okay, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not covet other people's goods. Anyone else?
Worship false idols. Shalt not worship false idols.
Oh, you shouldn't worship false idols, yeah. Anyway, so how many of the Christians are following the thou shalt not kill? Not that much. I mean, in India they have the highest rate of vegetarians, much higher than anywhere else in the world. But, you know, the Christian missionaries went there and go there and tell them it's okay to kill animals. And so, you know, how advanced are these other religions that, you know, India's been vegetarian for millions and millions of years, and the cow is sacred, but now, you know, so many cows are killed. So, anyway, to get on to happier topics, there is good news. That life should be very happy and very blissful, because the nature of the soul is that it is full of knowledge, it is always happy, and it's eternal. So this is not what you're taught in school. I remember I used to go to the chapel. I went to Dover College, actually. It's a private public school in Dover. And, you know, we used to go to the chapel. And it was so boring. I mean, nobody would be inspired to be religious there. I honestly became an atheist. We used to call the priest the Mona. His tone of voice was just, I don't know. Anyways, but if you go to a temple in India, you see Indian people are actually the happiest people in the world, you know that? If you go to India, Indian people are happy. They have some inbuilt spirituality. I don't think many Indians, I mean, maybe recently, but I don't think they take medicine for anxiety. They're beginning to drink a bit, but if you go to India, you know, the temples are very blissful, very happy, and people are queuing up to go inside. But here, the best cathedrals are all empty. Nobody goes to church anymore, and they spend a lot of money, a lot of time building these beautiful cathedrals, but they're dead. So Krishna says, the Bhagavad Gita, have you heard of the Bhagavad Gita? Yeah. Anyway, the Bhagavad Gita is a basic holy book, a very important book. As I said, it was first spoken to the sun god, Vivasvan, and Vivasvan instructed Manu. And Manu is the father of mankind, so the word man comes from the word Manu. So Krishna is speaking, and he says, Rajabija Rajaguyam. This is Sanskrit. Sanskrit's the oldest language in the world. The word yoga, karma, mantra, avatar. James Cameron, have you heard of him? I haven't seen the movies. But he stole that word. Avatar means one who descends. So like Buddha was an avatar of Krishna. Krishna's the supreme being. And Buddha was appeared at an appropriate time because he was trying to stop the animal killing at the time. That was like 2,800 years ago. So he's a very powerful person because even now he has 500, 600 million followers. Mostly in the Far East, China, Vietnam, Thailand, etc. So, Buddha, how many followers will Mick Jagger have in 2,700 years? Probably not many. So, Lord Buddha, he taught reincarnation. And reincarnation is a very easy thing, very logical thing to understand, that people are born with their karma. You have good karma, you're intelligent, you're a nice person, you're not in a very, very poor family, you have some inclination for knowledge, that's good karma. So, coming here, you have good karma, that's a good sign that you're intelligent. So, intelligent people, the first question they should ask, who am I? Why do I have to suffer? Do you think that's important? Yeah. So the reason is that you're like a fish out of water. If you take a fish out of water, you can't really be happy. So when the soul falls down into the material world, you can give the soul anything. Nice Tesla, whatever. You'll never be happy. Because this world is not designed really for happiness, unless you're being totally spiritual. Because there's so many problems in this world. Birth, death, old age, disease. And on top of that, you have to struggle very hard to make a living. And the weather is inclement, sometimes it's freezing cold, sometimes it's scorching hot, It's a struggle. So then you should think, look at this little flower. Beautiful. Flowers, if you ever study nature, nature's very well designed. Like, I live on a farm, not a lot of the time, but some of the time, I have a farm. And when you see the fruit trees, and all the fruit, first of all you get a little blossom, right? Each fruit tree has a different, they're all beautiful, unique design. And the blossom sometimes had a beautiful smell, like orange blossom, lemon blossom. And, then there's a little bud and the fruit starts to grow. It's just so magical. So, just by observing nature, you can understand that there's some designer, like who invented a banana? Any idea? If you think about it, you may get so many different wonderful types of fruits. grapes, bananas, apples, tangerines, mangoes, pineapples, blueberries, mulberries, blackberries. So many types of fruits. They weren't invented by some scientists. They were gifts of God, Krishna. Because Krishna wants us to be happy here. But, in the modern world, there's no God in the picture. It's either a fierce old guy who's punishing people all the time, or there's, So according to the Vedas, Krishna, he's very beautiful. God is very beautiful. And actually, our soul is designed to love Krishna. That's what we're designed for. So hearing about Krishna, hearing about his qualities and pastimes and activities, this is the beginning of liberation. Liberation from this dark world of suffering. So therefore, we have many books, innumerable books, because Krishna's unlimited. So therefore there are so many books written about his pastimes and activities and what he does. And also about how to actually get out of the material world and attain the spiritual world. Because Krishna says, Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tajayate antikilevram. What's the next? Chami chami vadikum tesadata bhavitaha. This is Sanskrit. Sanskrit is the oldest language. And of course the British, they really misled people because they came up with the theory of evolution, but we didn't evolve, we devolved. This is another problem because Sanskrit's the original language, but it's the oldest language, it's the most complicated language. So, this is a Sanskrit verse because we repeat the original words of Krishna. So Krishna says, whatever you think of at the time of death, that state you will attain without fail. So if you think of your dog, at the time of death you become a dog. You don't really want to become a dog. Dog's life is not much fun. So the best goal is to go back to the spiritual world. That's where you can be happy. That's where you'll get a spiritual body. And that form, you can have a choice. There's different relationships you can have with Krishna, because all the souls in the spiritual world, they have a relationship with God, because God is unlimited. He can have a relationship with everybody simultaneously. It's just like Harry Styles, right? You like Harry Styles? No, that's good. So, he's got a lot of fans, right? A lot of young girls. I remember Beatlemania. You know what Beatlemania is? You probably remember that. You know what Beatlemania is? So Beatlemania, all these young girls, they were so in love with the Beatles. If they kind of looked at them or glanced at them, they would just faint in ecstasy. Thousands of them would greet them at Heathrow Airport or whatever. So, thousands of girls, but they all loved Paul or George or whichever one it was. So in the spiritual world, because Krishna's, when he plays his flute, people think the Beatles are good, but when Krishna plays his flute, the cows become stunned, because in the spiritual world there's cows, because Krishna loves milk products. So that the cows become stunned while they're drinking milk from their mother, and they have to hear the sound of the flute. So Krishna's the greatest at everything, but especially famous for his flute playing. So in the spiritual world, everyone is having a loving relationship with Krishna. And the highest relationship is you should be a lover of Krishna. So 500 years ago, Krishna incarnated in a golden form, very beautiful. He was 7 feet tall, and he was so beautiful that he had thousands of followers trying to, go after him. So Krishna is very beautiful, but 500 years ago he came in this particular form, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And if you go to India, you'll find, well, we're building a temple on the place that he was born. It's a very big temple. Henry Ford's great-grandson, Ambarish, he's a Hare Krishna, he's paying a lot of the money to build the temple, but it's a very, very big temple. And it's to mark the place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born, because his teachings are so important. He gave a very simple process how to perfect your life, just by chanting the Maha Mantra. So this is, everybody has a tongue, it doesn't cost any money. And by saying the mantra, we were chanting Hare Krishna. You were probably confused what we were doing, but this is a mantra that actually invokes your dormant love. Because in this world, love is hard to find. You know, you see people, they fall in love, and they're in love for 6 months, and then, you know, they fall out of love and they hate each other. Happens a lot. So, that pure love, that is everlasting. And that love, you come to a point where you'll do anything for Krishna. So we're trying to follow the Guru. Here's our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. So he sacrificed everything to bring this knowledge to us. And he wrote many books. So we know that Christ, he spoke many words. A lot of what he said was written down 50 years after he said it. But he actually wrote 70 books, and everything he said was recorded. All the conversations, all the times he went walking in the morning, he would sometimes have a conversation, all his lectures, it was all recorded. So he came here with a mission to actually spread the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. This great incarnation appeared 500 years ago, and it's based on this chanting. It says, Nam Namakari Bahadar Nija Sabsha, that out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by chanting your holy name. So it's very simple, and anybody can do it now. I used to listen to a lot of different types of music before I became a Hare Krishna. But since I took it up seriously, I don't listen to any of that kind of music anymore. It's just it's sung by people who are materialistic, who are doing it mainly because they want name and fame. And of course, some of them are good musicians, but it's not deep, it's not meaningful, it doesn't help you, it's a waste of time. So, but by chanting this mantra, we go out, like yesterday I went to a big festival in Budapest, in Hungary, and there were many, many people there, I guess probably 5,000 or so. We had this procession down the main street in Budapest, and so we were singing and dancing for 3 hours or so, and everybody was just so blissful. So this is what the world needs at this particular point, because this age we're living in is the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. And in this age, people are very unfortunate. We're misguided, unlucky, quarrelsome, lazy, obstinate, and always disturbed. So the chanting revives the life in a human being. So, we recommend everybody chant as much as you can, and your life will change. It's the magic. It's the cure for our disease. So, Krishna's, he's in the spiritual world, but he's also in our heart. Because he is very clever, and he's invisible, and he knows what we're thinking right now. So he's the witness He says, Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Rideshya Arjuna Tishdhya. I'm seated in the heart of all living entities. As on a machine, he keeps tuning. Says, you got a late night. You got a late night. It's okay, don't worry, I don't mind if you. He's very polite, he's trying to. So Krishna's in the heart of every living being, so he knows what we're thinking, he knows what we need. He's trying to help us all the time. So, you know, if you take one step towards Krishna, he takes 10 steps towards you. So you take one step, you say one Hare Krishna. We did a chanting in the West End a couple of weeks ago, and it got, you know, when we go out singing and dancing, we take a lot of musical instruments with us. We take drums and ukulele, different things. It's nice, accordion, this thing, oh my God. I can't believe it. Don't you have a rag instead of using all that cloth? Sorry. Anyway, that's amazing. Twice, I can't believe it.
We're not giving you any more water.
I better drink it. So we went out to Chinatown. You know Chinatown? It's in the West End anyway. And it got very ecstatic. Everybody was singing, and a lot of Muslims were attracted to it. And so, because I was going up to these Muslims. They were really enjoying it. They were spectators. They loved it, and they were laughing. And I went up to them and I said, Hare Krishna. They said, Allah, Allah. I said, Hare Allah, Allah, Allah. Because they call God Allah, you know that. So, but you know, by hearing the mantra, that sows a seed in their heart. That by hearing the mantra, the holy name, I wouldn't do it again. So just by hearing the mantra, you're making progress. So this mantra is very powerful. So this movement will spread all over the world. Like here in Folkestone, how long have you been here? 10 years?
10 years in October.
10 years. They've been here 10 years. Okay. So nobody would have ever thought they would have a Hare Krishna center in Folkestone 100 years ago. You know, we have the Center for Hare Krishna Studies, I won't use the word Hindu, the Center for Hare Krishna Studies at Oxford University. So all over the world, you know, this Hare Krishna movement is spreading. In Budapest, like in Hungary, Budapest is the capital, you know, they have this beautiful farm, because one of our goals is to teach people a simple, more natural way of life. So we have this beautiful farm, and they use the oxen, you know, male cows, to do the work. It's very amazing, because you see, this whole industrialization has, you know, made a real mess of society, a mess of the world. I'm not saying everybody can suddenly go back to a simple way of life and, you know, grow your own food and all that, but, you know, there was a beautiful example of people living simply off nature. They don't have electricity, and, you know, everybody's very peaceful and happy, and it's a beautiful place. So, but, you know, 100 years ago, nobody would have thought there'd be a Hare Krishna beautiful farm in Hungary. Or, you know, George Harrison of the Beatles, he donated that place just outside of London. That's an amazing place too. So, this Hare Krishna movement is destined to spread all over the world. And we can all be a part of it. We can all actually get benefit by helping, because it's the only cure for modern society's problems. Because there's no material cure for people's, you can never fulfill people's greed. There was a famous oil magnate in America called, what was his name? He was very famous, I can't remember.
Getty.
John Paul Getty, yeah, John Paul Getty. So Getty, he was asked, what is your motto in life? He was billions and billions over that time, maybe millions, but he was asked, what is your motto? He said, more. I just want more. So this is the disease of modern man, like, Elon Musk, more. Even if you go to the friggin', where's he trying to go? Mars or somewhere. Where are they going to find that? Why don't you just try to spend all that money helping people here? It's so ridiculous. Billions and billions of dollars he's spending to go somewhere where he's not qualified. Even if he could go there, it's like you can't just come into the UK without a visa. Now you have to have a visa if you're American. It's a simple thing. But people can't just go to America. They have to have a proper paperwork, right? So you can't just go to higher planets without the qualifications. So, because you have to have the particular suitable body. Like I said, there's a sun god. Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to the sun god. So the sun god has a particular body. A fish has a particular body. You can't live under the water. So, those people that built that little submarine, they went down too far and the thing exploded and they died. So, all these different planets, you have to be qualified to go there. Anyway, it's all crazy. But it's all about greed. I want to be the most powerful person. So we have to be humble. Being humble, like, what's his name? Greek philosopher Socrates. So, he still studied in Oxford and Cambridge, but he didn't really know anything. Because he said, because there was something called the Oracle of Delphi, and that was like a visionary. And they said that Socrates was the most intelligent person in the Greek Empire. So when they told him, he said, I'm just a fool, I don't know anything. So he was right. But he's still considered to be a famous philosopher. He did know one thing though, because they poisoned him, because he believed in the soul. He poisoned him, he made him drink hemlock. So he said, you can kill my body, but you can't kill me. So that's why he's still a great famous person, because he had that little bit of knowledge. So anyway, if we study books and associate, it's great that you work in the Atma Cafe, it's great that you came here, hear the philosophy, then, gradually you'll see the light. You'll see this is reality, this is the truth. That there is a God, he's blue, he plays a flute, he's got a girlfriend. Well, he's a loving God, but he doesn't, it's not like lust. In the physical world, you see, it's lust. People want to enjoy somebody's body, but in the spiritual world, the persons there, they want to give themselves to Krishna because they love him. So, anyway, we have this wonderful knowledge. There's so much information about life in the spiritual world because he sends people down to write books. Krishna sends his friends down to write books about what it's like out there. Amazing books. And you know, the only body of knowledge that tells you the size of the universe, not just this universe. There are many universes. This is one of the smallest. And the Vedas, they tell you the size of the universe. And, you know, the river Ganges, for instance, that's a holy river that came down from the spiritual world. It's all amazing. So, forget about Harry Potter. And the movie, The Avatar, it's all nonsense. There's absolutely no value. It's all just, you know, waste of time. Because you only have so much time. You know that you're young, right? 16. It's very good that you came. You're very intelligent. And you sat here and you listened very carefully. It was fantastic. But, you know, time goes by very quickly. And you can't buy back 1 second with all the money in the world. So you want to make sure you use your time in the right way. So, you know, reading the books and hanging out with the devotees, this is the best possible thing you can do with your life. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Yes.